Hello folks, welcome to Uncommon Media. I'm your host, Uncommon Logic, and today I'll be sharing with you an interesting post that I found on Tumblr. And we all know Tumblr has an interesting reputation of incorporating all the weird and crazy that goes on out there. I mean, it's the long list where we started with all the different transgenders was started on Tumblr. But enough of that. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting post made by one user named Loudly Transparent Trash, which, according to her page, she is declared as anti-feminism, anti-Black Lives Matter, and anti-SJW. In other words, anti-bullshit. Now, this post I'm going to share with you today, which resounded with me in such a way because it coincides with some of my views. Keep in mind, I don't necessarily agree with her on everything, because if I did, I would just be another drone. I would be another sheeple, as they call it. So this post was made on February 21st of this year, and the title is, Feminists, Stop Telling Men to Express Their Feelings in the Same Way That You Do. What actually struck a chord with me on this post, besides the title, is the fact that a lot of those so-called feminists, those third waves, those so-called modern feminists, they call for men to show their feelings more, to act more like women. Which is funny considering that women don't tend to go for that type of guy. They don't want the soft and sensitive guy. They want that big and strong, red-blooded alpha male. But they're not willing to admit it. On with the post. If you have the patience to listen to a feminist for more than a few minutes, you'll soon hear all about how the toxic masculinity of a man prevents him from expressing his feelings, and how men need to be more gentle, be more open and sensitive. Basically, act more like a woman. It's a common feminist trope that men don't like to express their feelings, and feminist magazines and websites, popular feminist mouthpieces, and college professors devote enormous amounts of space teaching women how to correct this flaw in men and boys. Well, that's rich. A flaw. Seriously, those so-called feminists who are proposing this, it's about as effective as gay conversion therapy. What's naturally there, you cannot get rid of it. You can suppress it. You can't remove it. Continuing on, this feminist belief is simply sexist and narcissistic for two reasons. First, it is entirely based on the assumption that the way women communicate is automatically best, and men should be forced into accepting and imitating that excellence. Oh my lord. If women like words and tears and dramatic gestures and consider all of those things perfectly acceptable forms of communication, well then, damn it, men should too. Now, this is going by the belief that we're using women's communication as the standards for everyone else. But don't forget, feminists, the world does not revolve around you. Continuing, if women like to use their words to show how they feel, then everyone else should use their words too. Oh my god. Do you have any idea how annoying that is? A lot of those women out there who like to talk too much, and they spill out their life story, and they ask you 10 million questions about what to wear, where to go eat, what do you think of this movie? Oh my lord, I just want to shut my brain off. Okay, continuing, this falls in line with the general effort to define men as not just different, but wrong, and from their own mouths, even toxic. No, right now what's entirely toxic is the way you're trying to oppress men. And yes, I'm using the words oppressed. Acceptable men in the eyes of feminists are the ones that have been reprogrammed to act like women, which is annoying as fucking hell, accept women's moral superiority, and strive to imitate women in their thoughts and actions and beliefs. In other words, instead of trying to keep certain thoughts to yourself, you're going to spill them out in a teary and extremely overly dramatic rant and expect everyone to listen. No. Generally, if you do something like that and the person doesn't know you, or they know you enough to predict your behavior, they're not going to like it. They're going to think you're just overall a giant crybaby who does not have a thick hide. Okay, and some men are like that naturally and good for them. Okay, there are some men who are like that, but it comes with them. It's not reprogrammed into them. But most males are beaten into submission by the ubiquitous feminist message that they are flawed and must be fixed. Well, just like the religious people thought that homosexuals are flawed and needed to be fixed, okay? I hate the thought of my future son growing up in a world that tells him his natural instincts and proclivities are bad and that the only solution is to leash himself to a woman's movement who will civilize him, correct him, and improve him. No, I don't think it'll improve him. I think it'll break him like hell. So the so-called feminists, and I'm calling them so-called because most of them are not feminists. Most of them are pretending to be feminists. You know that long list of different genders that started from Tumblr? I can tell you right now that a lot of those so-called transgenders are possibly people with a sense of gender dysphoria, and that's actually listed as a mental disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Illnesses. A lot of them just maybe they have nothing to do, they want to fit into the pack, so they make something up. They're trying to integrate themselves, and they're doing a pretty poor job of it. Which leads to my second point. Men talk about their feelings all the damn time. They just communicate differently to us. Keep in mind, they're males, not females. Different genetic makeup. Men show you how they feel by what they do, not always what they say. When you have an argument with your boyfriend, don't expect to have long, heart-to-heart conversations afterwards about how it made you both feel and how sorry you both are as you sob into each other's arms. Oh my god, I freaking hate that. I really fucking do. He might just bring you some flowers or a giant cheesy pizza or whatever your favorite thing is, and that gesture says it all. It says, I'm sorry, I know I upset you and I feel terrible about that, and I'm sorry, and I know you will forgive me because you love me and I want you to know how much I love you too. No words exchanged like after an argument with your best friend, but still, he's saying so much. When he sends you a picture he snapped with his phone of a beautiful sky or a crazy traffic jam or the sauce he spilled on himself, he's telling you how he feels. Look at this sky, it's gorgeous and it makes me think of you. I want to share this with you. Or, Christ, look at this traffic, man, this pisses me off. I feel frustrated and angry and I need to think about you so I can calm the fuck down. When he scooches over on the couch so you can have the warm spot, he is telling you, I love you and I think about your comfort and I want to make sure you feel warm and cozy. When he unloads the dishwasher, he is telling you, you look tired and you have had a long day and I want to pitch in and help you out because I care about you. When he walks past you and stops to give you a peck on the cheek, he is telling you, I can't imagine my life without you. Men don't typically use words to describe how they feel. They use actions. A man's love is in what he does, not always what he says. This isn't toxic. It doesn't need to be reprogrammed. So before you take a breath to start bitching about how he never talks to you, stop for a second to actually consider what he does for you. That's silence. All his feelings are in it. Acknowledge it. Say thank you. Just because your idea of how we should communicate seems like the best thing for you, it doesn't mean it's the best thing for everyone else. You are not the standard for everyone else. Now, if your boyfriend does absolutely nothing and never shows you he loves you by either words or gestures, then you have every right to be mad and tell him to pack his bags. And besides boyfriend, I should mention girlfriend too, because not everyone is heterosexual. But in general, it's time to stop insulting the way men communicate and making boys feel bad for being boys. Really? You're going to guilt them on how they are born? That's the lowest of the low. You didn't like being insulted for being female, and yet you're doing the same thing to males by making them feel guilty for being born the way they are. Being born a certain gender doesn't make it wrong, although, according to modern feminists, being born male is entirely wrong, and it's something that apparently can be controlled. But continuing on, be nice. Do nice things. Try not to talk so much next time and try to understand him better than what you think you already do. Take a walk on his side of the communication divide and you might just realize that he never shuts up about how he feels. And this is from Loudly Transparent Trash on Tumblr. So, what did you think of it? Does this coincide with your views too? Like, comment about it, and don't forget to subscribe for more crazy things to come into the future. This has been Uncommon Logic on Uncommon Media, and I will see you next time.